Hello, good morning. Good morning, Liz. Here we
Good
are again,
morning.
two tarts on a journey. Um, wow, it's exciting. It's exciting times. I've had a lot of contact from a lot of people talking about the energies that are around these two eclipses. So there's an eclipse coming up, another eclipse coming up on the 8th. So I'm just gonna go to you, Liz, and because you know much more about this, and I know you said you're not an expert, but you know much more than I do. So I would love to talk about that, and then we can talk about the impact that it can have on us.
Well, I should have been a little bit more prepared because I've got all those notes, but the notes are in my notebook in the other room. I probably could, and then I probably could have um, talked about it properly where I'm not prepared. I just know the eclipse obviously is darker energies because, I mean, obviously the moon's covered, so we're getting to see the dark and light without saying where the nodes are and all of that, because I've got it written down. I don't fully understand it. But even just saying simplistically, the eclipse season of the dark being covered or the light being covered into dark is taking us all into that shadow aspect of us, drawing us all out into the light. So there is many people at the moment going through some dark times or being presented with experiences that are maybe triggering them and past stuff coming up that needs to be looked at. So simplistically, I think that's really, taking us into the dark to draw us back into the light is making us go down into those perhaps places that we haven't wanted to look at and perhaps still don't want to look at because then you've got the mercury or that's part of the addiction. So, you're hearing a lot of people that are struggling with alcohol, food, drugs or
Yeah.
whatever, because it is extremely difficult to go to those places without being overwhelmed and not wanting to cover it up. So that's really what's coming to light in this period.
Yeah, and also, can I just kind of just slip in there?
Yeah.
That's fine that you're giving us the simplistic view because there are heaps of people out there on YouTube, on Instagram, and that who are giving the detailed description of what's happening with with astrology. So we need to talk about. I think it's better to talk about the impact because that's our forte rather than what is happening, because people can look anywhere on YouTube and on Instagram and find out, or socials, and find out, what astrologically is happening and is being created by this. We talk about the stuff that hits us and gives us an opportunity.
And
Sorry.
we've also got to realize much of it is on the subconscious. So when this stuff's hitting us, we're
Mm,
feeling,
yeah.
we're reacting. We don't necessarily know why we're feeling and why we're reacting, but something's triggering us unless we have that awareness that change is required and this is stuff that needs to be looked at instead of pushing it down. Because, the biggest thing that I think in society and the biggest misconception is vulnerability is weak. Well, I think we've touched on this before. Vulnerability isn't weak. Vulnerability is courage. Vulnerability is, you know, taking something on head on and going into it. But because we can go in that and then through vulnerability show our emotions and maybe speak, people go, oh, you're weak, you can't do this, you can't do that. So people lock it down more, but we're being asked to bring it up and show that vulnerability through courage to look at what perhaps we have um, taken a part in and to hold responsibility of and to feel it and to let it go. So this eclipse season, which is playing out on the world stage, you're seeing a lot of things happen or hearing of a lot of things. Well, it's happening in our inner world. So we have to clean our inner world up, which is those dark parts, but stop hiding behind it and really being able to feel into it and talk. Find people that you can have these conversations with that don't see that as a weakness or a threat.
Yes. Yeah. And vulnerability is, it's I think people are beginning to realize now to speak honestly, often to speak honestly how we are feeling, how we are reacting to things that go on outside of us. To speak honestly is to be vulnerable. And I think vulnerability is the greatest strength that human beings will ever have.
It's going to be part of our healing, but saying that, to be vulnerable, we also have to have awareness about where we're going to say it. I know from my own experience that if people aren't ready to hear it, and we can plant seeds as we get more awareness and things like that, but if we're not at that place and we just start feeling this and start talking and people aren't ready for it, or their perception or their filter is you're having a go at them, it can actually cause more damage to you because you close down more without that awareness. So when I said the important thing is when you're feeling vulnerable, to find that safe space, to tap onto things like listening to us, to go that it is okay, it's a safe place, and to show them ways to do with it, or to tap on positive things on YouTube or Spotify podcasts or whatever, where it can support them initially until they get the strength, because, or build the tribe around them that isn't still coming from fear and chaos, where everyone thinks you're having a go at them if you're being authentic and real for yourself. So just to find that safe space, I think, to begin with, is going to be very important. Otherwise, it can be very destructive, as we know for our own journey.
Yeah, it can be. And we need to start somewhere, and most people will start from when they're ready. They'll take an opportunity to begin this journey by reaching out. Sometimes we are hit with the chaos, and we're hit with something that's pretty big, some sort of a crisis, and that will sometimes give us the opportunity to turn around or to dissolve further back into ourselves. But you were also talking about all of these addictions coming up. We were talking before, and I was just saying, I've actually taken this opportunity to do a 75-day challenge, and it's not a fitness challenge, but it's involved. There's fitness involved. It's not a weight loss challenge, but there's good or whatever eating plans involved. And the interesting thing is, I thought, oh, look, I'm really wanting to do this. But when I think about it, I've always had my big weakness has always been food. So alcohol, I haven't been able to do for, since I was in my 20s. But yeah, it's always been food. And so it was really interesting, because I started this challenge, which is called 75 Hard. And I love it because for me, it's, as you say, structure, or for me, it's discipline.
Oh, accountability just came to mind. It's also
accountability. That's right. And it's effortless, the way that they hold you accountable. You are held accountable, and it's the whole thing is a choice. But I'm trying to refine my thread. Food. Yeah. So Easter Sunday, I started on Monday, Easter Monday. Easter Sunday, it was really interesting. I was getting myself prepared, and we'd invited part of the family for Easter lunch. So I had some extraordinary chocolate eggs, and so I put those on the table, and I just thought, look, I won't bother with those. I was watching them the whole way through the meal. I was watching these eggs. I'll just have one. I did have one, and then I had a little other chocolate thing. And then at night, I was looking in the fridge, and I'd put the eggs into the leftover eggs. I put them into a container, put them in the fridge so that, yeah, everyone else could eat them. And you know what? I'm in the fridge, looking in there. There's the damn Easter eggs in there, and I thought, I'm not going to be able to have one of these for 75 days. I'll just have one. So down it went. I wasn't hungry. And I just, yeah, so I just thought of that now. I thought, yeah, I need to do that, because this is for mental strength. And that's the last loose ends I really need to, I want to take care of.
Break patterns of behaviour.
Break patterns of behaviour. That's the one. Thank you very much. Yeah, yeah, because I've looked at why I do it. But gone back into all sorts of, the old belief systems and everything else, but it pops up, especially when I'm smelling that beautiful chocolate. It's just like, yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Well, it'll be interesting because, what do they say? It takes 30 days to break a pattern
Yes,
well, I disagree with that from my own
I
journey because
disagree.
I know that I can go 16 months, but as soon as you put it near me or whatever, whether it be alcohol or whatever, it comes back with the beliefs or the programming or the emotion that's attached to that.
Yeah,
So, I'll be interested to see that. I think it takes more, and I don't think it's about breaking the cycle. I think it's breaking what's under the reasons
yes,
we're doing it. So it is that mental. So
yeah,
as you go further along, recognizing that, oh, I don't need to do that when I'm feeling like this, I can do that. So it's actually not just breaking a pattern, it's finding new threads
yes,
to um, use instead of that. And so
yes,
it'll be quite interesting because when you're just talking, it goes, that's why the 30 days for me doesn't work, because you can go 30 days and go, oh, wow, I went 30 days, I'm not this. But the
yeah,
moment that emotion or whatever trigger comes up again, you're going to go back into that addictive pattern because it's still threaded to that. So creating new pathways through that, I'll be interested to see
yeah,
how you come out the other side of that, knowing the addictive
yeah,
attachment to food or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
you know.
Just chocolate.
Mm.
Chocolate. Yeah, it's just yum. But yeah, I just want to go. I want to get to the point where I have with everything else. Everything else, it's a choice. So it's, and I've worked a lot of years through all of my stuff and all of my addictive things, um, until now. It's nothing really bothers me, and I didn't think chocolate did until that darn Sunday night when I'm looking in that fridge and I'm taking the chocolate egg out, taking it down my throat, and I'm thinking, I don't need that. But yeah, and I didn't even justify it. It was just like, I don't need this, but it's going down anyway. Mm,
You know that what I've had a few conversations because addiction's coming up, and
yeah,
not just around, but what's come up for me just recently, just in my thought pattern while I'm having conversations, is we come in with these coping mechanisms, whether it be through food, sex, drugs, alcohol, whatever.
mm,
But I've just realized of recent, for me, how much the powers to be, say, have played a massive part in that. And when I say this, I look at, sugar for many, many people
yep,
is an addiction. It is lowers the immune system. It lowers our intelligence. It lowers everything. So food has been insidiously placed in nearly every aspect of our lives.
yes,
And then I look at, say, alcohol, and I look through the C period of the last few years and the emergency services or shops that were kept open in that time, one of them being bottle shops.
yeah,
So we're not only coming up against our patterns and our beliefs,
yeah,
we've got this thread of this is I can't think of a better correct, acceptable behavior. I'm living this
mm,
lifetime now and what it needs. So we're not only having to step up, which is what I'm noticing now, and and dealing with our own belief systems and threads to the addictions that we've brought into this, we're also dealing with a society that has normalized it, but has got people automatically in, automatic mode, not knowing anything else because it's in every aspect of our lives, which is the normal aspect. So, we're up against a lot of things, and it's taking a lot of courage to step through not only vulnerability, but also seeing, stepping back and going, wow, and taking stock of what's playing out and what's actually happened and how can I change that. And even your 75-day challenge is going to change your way of doing things, giving you discipline and structure, but also creating new threads of doing things differently and seeing things differently. And I don't know whether I sort of brought that across, but it's just this, not only our own stuff that we've brought in. For me, it's like this arm out of what's pulling us in stronger into this disempowerment through addiction. Did I get that out properly?
Yes, and I think there's a massive, it's like a media marketing campaign that's always in front of us and bombarding us from childhood, where we know instinctively what our bodies need and want. And if we stop for long enough to ask, then we're told. But this addictive nature of sugar is phenomenal.
Oh, insidious. It's caused so many health problems, but it does. Our intelligence does go down with it, because your body's not, it's dehydrated, it's not taking all the things, so we can't think, we can't feel, so we're on automatic pilot. And that's why I think so much we're doing what we're told as opposed to what we feel our bodies need, and it needs to come back into some sort of structure and a greater understanding of self again. So I was just thinking, it's one thing to say we're working through our patterns and beliefs, but just lately it's coming up that we're actually, we're at a time now where we're not only coming up for our own health and well-being, but we're at this brick wall of, do we want to break through that, or do we want to keep being held within that, doing.
And that paradigm of, because it's, what you're saying while you're saying that, it's like, if you have a look on, I'm really beginning to, and I have done for the last 10 years, beginning to notice what's in food. And I mean, we don't have much packaged food at all, but there's a lot of people that do, that think that they are eating something that's healthy. And you have a look, and generally the first thing is often sugar or corn syrup. And it's
cottonseed oil, all these things now,
all of these things and I know, we've nutritionists and natural therapists, we've been trying to get out there and educate people, re-educate people, because most people know, they've got a deep inner knowing of what's natural and what's good. But it's almost like that's been demonized.
Oh, absolutely brainwashed. I mean, since coming back to Australia, and I'm just working casually in a health food shop at the moment, and the people do think they're doing the right thing because something says it's organic, or especially gluten-free, keto based. Now, turn that over and look what's in there. You might as well go and eat a full something totally, the opposite, like the full effect of what it is, because there's more damaging substances in that. Now, I'm not saying you can get good gluten-free in that, but you need to have a look at it, because people are just marketing. It's a marketing ploy. Just because it says that doesn't mean it is. And it's exactly what you're saying. We're still being manipulated with our thoughts, thinking we're doing the right thing, where again, we're being controlled or drawn to something insidious yet again, with more chemicals or bad things in it that are keeping our bodies in a low state of being.
Yeah, and I think it's sad that that we go 2 steps forward. I think it's like, we've looked at what Big Pharma's done. Netflix has put out some amazing programs exposing what some factions of Big Pharma have done and how they've exploited people. It's really sad that we have to go step by step exposing all of these things that are harmful to humanity in order to move forward.
And I think once again, just coming back to I think how we ended the other day, was just like keep it simple. And that's all I'm getting people to do.
Yes.
Please keep it simple. Eat
Yeah.
from the light. Get a filter your water. Just go back to the basic natural ingredients of life.
Yes.
Don't even, if you can just make those simple changes and people go, well, that's not simple. Well, it is. Just eat from the ground, eat from the light, eat from Mother Earth, filter
Yeah.
your water, allow your body to slowly start getting rid of the heavy metals and just
Yeah.
coming back into a little bit more state of alignment.
Yeah.
And then start doing things. And we can support things by really basic things, the Celtic salt and all of those things to bring it in. We don't need all these other things. So again, the simplicity of it,
Yeah.
which if we can start getting our bodies back, we can start getting our minds being able to get into that greater state of awareness to see what's happening more around us instead of being dumbed down by these products and things. And it's such a big thing, and that we could talk about that for ages, but it's such an important thing. But all I just say again is keep it simple. Go back to the natural things. You don't have to look outside of that. You don't need to support yourself or get anything else. Just remove some of that thing and go back to
Yeah.
what we've always had.
Yeah. Filtered, as you say, filtered water, and just stuff that comes out of the ground.
And then start from that healing, but then that will give us the awareness. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. Then you can
Feeling
see
better.
that things don't serve you. We can start looking at patterns of behavior that are destructive. We can start, but it does start by trying to just maybe feel better, have more energy, eating well, so we can actually see those the other aspects of what's going around. I know we went off a bit of a target then, but I think that if everyone can just keep it simple and come back to feet on the ground, eating and doing that, a lot of the things that we are talking about now, the addictions and our thoughts and words and actions, we will start to be more aware of them from a healthier state of
Yeah.
being, from a
We
really
get,
basic.
given that opportunity to start being self-aware.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's a big key, is just starting to really notice what we do and notice. I keep going back to my Easter egg on Sunday, but being fully aware of that's what I'm doing, and there was nothing doing it but there was a little voice going, yeah, but you're going to miss out. You're not going to. Other people will be eating them, and you're not going to have any. Just so really worth. I took myself to bed that night, and I took my little, probably 6-year-old little girl who didn't have the big birthday parties. I took her and snuggled up with her and just said, "It's okay. I've got lots for you. I'll take care of you." So it's really, just interesting what you can do with self-awareness.
Well, as you said, there's so much trauma under addiction. And I think that just whether it be sugar, whether it be food, whether it be alcohol, if we can actually be honest with ourselves, even though society says sugar's good because it's in everything, alcohol's good because we keep it open, it's an emergency. So if we can be absolutely honest with ourselves and go, okay, perhaps this is more than
Yeah,
it being right. Perhaps if we can actually admit, oh, perhaps I do hide behind it, which then we put that word addiction, and nobody wants that word. I'm not addicted, but we are actually addicted. If we
yeah,
can be truthful and authentic and go, perhaps I am because I'm hiding behind something.
yeah,
And then, as you said, get to that, taking that little 6-year-old to bed and go, okay, what triggered that
mm,
pattern of behavior? It's a
yeah.
good place to start. It's not an easy place, but there's steps, there's simple steps. There's steps that we can start. I'm not saying they're simple, but it's a place to start.
Yeah, and I think the great thing is that when we focus on the child in us, you know, that child that we were and what happened to them that caused them to develop those types of coping mechanisms or that turn into habits, then it's like, would you look at a 5 or 6 year old child and say, you are an addict? No. No, you wouldn't. So immediately you start, you'd never criticize a child like that. You'd ask, what happened to you? So it's, yeah, so I think it's a good place to begin. I also am going to, my gosh, the time's gone so quickly. It's time for us to wrap up again. And I'm going to look forward to hopefully continuing this conversation next week, because it's something that is endless. It's, you know, something
it's huge at this time, and people need support. As I said, we are being asked to deal with, from the eclipse season, the dark within, which is coming up through addiction in whatever way it is, sugar, alcohol, whatever. So it is a big topic, but you know, it's just beginning and recognizing that patterns of behavior are hiding under certain aspects that thread back to childhood. But you know, just having chats and keeping it simple, and
I love
it is
that. I love that, keeping it simple. Okay, and I'm going to keep this on down on time before, because we love people being able to watch this, listen to it if they can't watch it, because it's quite easy, as you were saying, to put your headphones in and listen if you're out in the car, and give us some feedback. What what has this brought up for you?
Yeah, what patterns of behavior are you hiding behind? What do you want support with? You know, you'll find once you start this conversation, I had a conversation just in a group the other day, and 4 people all said, I'm dealing with drugs, I'm dealing with this. Every one of us have got something that's coming up at the moment. So, you know, you're not alone, I guess is what Margaret's saying as well. You know, you've got the support. It'll be positive comment. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, my lovely. Lovely to see you, and lovely to see you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.